14, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. And then Psalm 18, 27 through 36. You save the humble, but bring low those whose eyes are haughty. You, O Lord, keep my lamp burning. My God turns my darkness into light. With your help, I can advance against a troop. With my God, I can scale a wall. As for God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is flawless. He is a shield for all who take refuge in him. For who is God besides the Lord? And who is the rock except our God? It is God who arms me with strength and makes me my way perfect. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He enables me to stand on the heights. He trains my hands for battle. My arms can bend a bow of bronze. You give me your shield of victory, and your right hand sustains me. You stoop down to make me great. You broaden the path beneath me, so that my ankles do not turn. How wonderful.
One nation under God. A nation forged on the sacrifice of pilgrims, pioneers, and patriots. Men and women who trusted God, who knew creation had much to offer, and who believed in something bigger than themselves. A nation grown strong through the vision of inventors, idealists, and innovators. We've given humanity wings, even sent them to the moon. Sleeves and do the hard work.
Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
And above all, we thank God for our Christian foundation, the strength of our nation, and the many blessings he's bestowed upon our sweet land of liberty. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. God bless America.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
All right, well, when I was in third grade, it's either third or fourth grade, I created the Crow Club, okay? Now, this was only boys allowed. The Crow Club consisted of maybe 5 or 6 guys at recess, flying around on the blacktop from place to place, flapping our arms, and with only one thing to say, really, caw, caw, caw. We really didn't have any purpose other than that. We didn't develop a special language, the Crow Club. We didn't defend justice. We didn't harass other kids. We didn't do good works. The Crow Club probably lasted like 2 weeks, something like that. But I can still remember what it was like to be a member of the Crow Club. It feels like yesterday. How thrilling to sail around in beautiful flight in majesty with such pride. I was part of something great. I was a member of the Crow Club. Well, some 3 years later, the same feeling hit me again. There I was, 11 years old, watching a grainy gray image of my fellow citizens walking on the moon for the very first time. These were Americans. I was an American. I was part of something great. I was on that mission. So I was and I am part of something great. Something bigger than myself. A cause that stretched me, who I am, and gave me purpose, lifted my eyes to a higher plane, a greater good. All of us know what it's like to be part of something great. Whether it's being a member of some team, or some group, or some band, you realize how much you can accomplish when you're part of something bigger than just yourself. When you're a part of other people giving their all as well. When you belong to a great cause, a most excellent mission, a company, an organization, a group of people that aim high and accomplish great things and makes you proud to be part. It's like when you get married. It's like when you become part of a family. When you find a church and jump in with both feet. You come to realize that you are part of something great. I think we all sense this calling, this need to be something more than just what's inside our skin. To be part of something bigger than ourselves. And the calling to live up to that greatness. To rise above ourselves. This is our higher calling. 240 years ago, people living in 13 colonies felt this calling to declare independence from Great Britain, the king. They were denied the right of self-government, self-taxation, self-representation, constantly ignored or harassed. These people voted, and the Declaration of Independence was signed. With a great calling, the call for liberty, for freedom, and a great risk, the risk, in fact, of death. We were now part of something great. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men, all people are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and for the support of this declaration with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. One nation under God. In God we trust. So help us, God. So this July 4th weekend, I ask you, fellow Americans, how cool is it to be part of something so great? I think I mentioned here a few weeks ago, that our son Sam went to France for a week, and I was thinking it would be really neat to hear his perspective after being abroad just recently on what it's like to live in America from a 17-year-old's perspective. So Sam, come on.
Good morning. Well, I'm Sam, his son, as he just said, and I got back from France about 3 weeks ago. The trip was about 10 days, and we saw Paris, the Loire Valley, and Normandy, and you can see the route we took in France right up there. I spent over a year and a half planning for this trip. Things like fundraising, getting stuff together, and learning about French culture. I've always been interested in French culture. I listen to French music, read French books, and even try and speak the language whenever I can. Needless to say, I was very excited to go. I'd studied the language for over 3 years, and I'd even been to Quebec, which was some sort of a teaser. I'd also begun to plan a future in business that involved working with French companies. Before long, I had painted the country as some sort of land of mystery and wonder, and I was eager to go and leave America when the time came. But I got there to find a world of differences. The first town we stayed in was just a suburb outside of Paris. However, it was comparable to inner city Columbus. I quickly learned driving in Paris was also crazy. As we rode in a bus from the airport to the hotel, my friends and I were ready to collapse from the stress of watching our bus stop quite literally 6 inches behind every car that was around us. Driving there was crazier than any American city I've been in. I think French drivers have no concept of lanes or distance between vehicles. As we continued to drive, we found roads, buildings, and walls covered in graffiti. Not vulgar graffiti like you see here, but still, it was a shock. We got to the hotel ready to sleep, but the day was only beginning. Soon we walked to go to the metro to get into Paris, only to find that the metro was closed due to strikes. Our American impatience was tested as the more lenient French found different ways to make the journey. After several tries, we finally found a bus that could fit the whole group. We finally made it to Paris. The first stop was the Louvre, where I was nearly trapped in an exhibit because of a bomb threat. As we exited to make the midday walk to Notre Dame, I burned because I chose to try the French custom of wearing long pants and long-sleeve t-shirts, even in the heat of summer. And we had one more day in Paris. I loved seeing the monuments, but the city itself was wild. One of the most interesting things I noticed there was security. There were multiple teams of soldiers at every monument, guarding as if something was about to happen. We even had to get our bags checked just to get into the grocery store. In a way, it felt dangerous just to go about normal life, which was a large difference from the relative safety we had in Chillicothe. I found, much to my surprise, that I liked the small towns much better. In these towns, we always made the most noise, ate the most food, and walked the fastest. You could always tell if an American was near in those towns because of our loud voices echoing down the narrow streets. The food was always incredible, there just wasn't ever enough. I found myself constantly eating to satisfy my appetite. Despite this, the French have eating down to a science, and I surely miss their food. As we walked through the streets, we always found we were at a run compared to the leisurely French people. And what's more is that we were always out the latest. French shops usually closed their doors around 6, and the French were in with their families for the night by 7. However, the slow and carefree feel of the towns contrasted Paris and even America strongly, and it will stay with me forever. Our final day was spent in Paris. We shopped on les Champs-Élysées, where I nearly had a panic attack from the massive crowd. When it was time to go up the Eiffel Tower, we couldn't because of, you guessed it, more strikes. I was surprised to find I was ready to leave the country I thought I was ready to drop it all to go to. I was ready to come back to America. Back home, the first thing I did was order a Coke. But because I had gotten used to French portions, I was only able to drink half of it before I had to throw it away. The trip opened my eyes in many ways. I found the French were much more appreciative than us. In fact, many people were thrilled to hear we were American. In Normandy, around where we made the D-Day landings of World War II, there were still French people who flew the American flag outside of their homes. Up there you can, well, there was Omaha Beach up there. Yeah, it was up, yeah, that's it. That was Omaha Beach, and being there was just an incredible experience. That was where the Americans did their bloodiest fighting, and it was just something else. 72 years later, the French still see us as their heroes, and that you can see in the cemetery that was just up there. They buried over 1,000 of our fallen warriors that died throughout fighting in Paris to liberate, well, just France, to liberate the country. My teacher even had stories of meeting elderly people who cried when they found out she was American. The French are still appreciative of something we frankly don't really think about. Essentially, appreciation is what I learned on this trip. As Americans, we often fail to appreciate what other countries have to offer, such as the appreciation of living I found the French to have in their cuisine and lifestyles. Essentially, we fail to realize some great things others can offer to us. But even more, we often fail to realize how blessed we are as Americans. Coming back, I miss the beauty of America, where France had just looked like a bunch of flat farmland, not too different from here, but without the hills. The security mixed with freedom we enjoy, and our abundant lives. We generally live free from threats of enemies, whereas in France, my bags were checked nearly everywhere I went. We complain of the cost of amenities, where in Europe, gas is about $6 a gallon, and people practically live in the dark from the cost of electricity. People across the world are often more grateful for America and the freedom it brings than we are ourselves. In America, God has blessed us with abundance, and we must learn to appreciate it. This 4th of July, I have a new appreciation for this great country and its blessings. God bless America.
Sam, I have to admit it, that tops the Crow Club, okay? Let me just say that we are very grateful that Sam made it back safely. Thankful to God for that. I want you to listen to some words found in the preamble to our Constitution. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. And there it is, the calling and the blessing of freedom. The calling and the blessing of freedom. And our liberation is actually a freedom and a blessing that comes from God. It's a gift. Here in America, we're free to believe and do many things. We can pursue our own happiness and our own destinies. But while raking in the blessings, the benefits of being part of something great, this is our higher calling. We also are called to higher expectations. We're called to live for the greater good, to live for others. We're not to be selfish. We're not to use our freedom as a blank check. Here's what Paul says, found in Galatians 5. You, my brothers, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the sinful nature. Rather, serve one another in love. The entire law is summed up in a single command: love your neighbor as yourself. If you keep on biting and devouring each other, watch out, or you will be destroyed by each other. Now, Abraham Lincoln recognized the danger to America, that our destruction would not come from outside, that if America was to fall, it would fall from within. And he wrote, "Shall we expect some transatlantic military giant to steep the ocean and crush us at a blow? Never. All the armies of Europe, Asia, and Africa combined, with the treasure of the earth in their military chest, with a Bonaparte or a commander, could not by force take a drink from the Ohio or make a track on the Blue Ridge in a trial of 1,000 years. At what point then is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reach us, it must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and finisher. As a nation of free men, we must live through all time or die by suicide." Our God has a long history of calling and raising up nations, and of punishing and bringing nations down. And America has been and still is a blessed nation. But God calls all nations, all people, wants blessings for all people. Revelation 7 makes it clear that worshipers in heaven will be from every nation, every tribe, every language, every people. When God called Abraham in the Old Testament, he promised Abraham he would become a father of many nations. George Washington, in his Thanksgiving proclamation, said, "It is the duty of all nations to acknowledge the providence of Almighty God, to obey his will, to be grateful for his benefits, and humbly implore his protection and his love." God calls out groups of people like Israel or the disciples, his church and America, and blesses them so that they might be a model and a blessing to those around them, to bring up others into freedom, into blessing. In other words, we are sitting on a hill. We've been blessed, but for the purpose of blessing others. And to those who are given much, much are expected. Much is expected. Isaiah 60 says, "For the nation or kingdom that will not serve God will perish. It will be utterly ruined." The Lord God intends that all people become liberated. All people. Freedom for all. Justice for all. Freedom from sin. Freedom from purposelessness. Freedom from worthlessness. Freedom from tyranny. The tyranny from outside and the tyranny of sin from within. Here's the author of freedom. It's the Lord God. He is the author of blessings. Blessings that are even greater than worldly wealth, human success, and our comforts that we enjoy. He calls us to receive these blessings as a gift, but then in turn produce gifts for others. We, in fact, were born into citizenship and born into the blessings of this nation and born into the results of the cross. Those are free. And grace is beyond our works. We could never earn this blessing, this freedom. Let us never think that we produce these blessings on our own as a person, as a nation, that we just keep it coming, that we're earning this, that we, through our wisdom and our knowledge, can figure this all out and keep things rolling. Let us never imagine that our courts or our president can keep these blessings coming, or can figure things out and make things perfectly just. Sometimes the more we legislate, the more complex and easier it is to sidestep the law. The more rulings we make, the more we get snowed in confusion as to what is right here. Morality comes from God, not from us. This freedom that we enjoy, these higher blessings, they're all the calling that we have. We're called to it. We're all called to give it and to share it and to live up to it. It comes with a great responsibility. The responsibility to live for Him. 1 Peter 2nd chapter, 9 to 12. "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people belonging to God, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of the darkness and into His wonderful light. Once you were not a people, but now you are the people of God. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy. Dear friends, I urge you as aliens and strangers in this world to abstain from sinful desires, which wage war against your soul. Live such good lives among the pagans that though they accuse you of doing wrong, they may see your good deeds and glorify God on the day He visits us." I encourage you as you go out today to live celebrating the blessings of freedom, the blessings of abundance and overabundance, the blessings of being called to be sons and daughters of God. I also encourage you to walk in that reality that we're called to reflect the glory of God and to point to the glory of God. We are called to be God's ambassadors. Amen. I invite all of you to the communion rail at this time, or to simply pray where you're at. Thank God, if you would, for what God has done through America. And let's be in prayer at this time.